right, that's up and running, and I'm going to share my screen and get us over to the, start with the PowerPoint. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Very good. All right, that's the most important slide. We're here for Blackboard Getting Started training. So right away, the first thing that comes to mind with Blackboard is what are the kinds of things that we're going to want to do from that learning management system. And keep in mind, it's you and your students in basically this space on a web page, basically, but this space that is exclusively yours for you putting out information, for you interacting with them, for them interacting with you, and for them interacting with each other. This is a very small list of features about Blackboard because we're just getting started, but it's tremendous, all the things that you can do in a learning management system like Blackboard. And the more you know about it, the better off you and your students will be. And we hope that you continue to learn more about it. And that's one of the biggest things I like to feature during a session like this is how can you get more information about Blackboard, okay? Because, you know, we're not going to be on Blackboard TV all the time for you. Is there a question already? Okay. So a key factor is making sure that when you're in your course, that you know how to actually put the content in. So the edit mode being on and off is instrumental in seeing some things and doing some things in your course. Understanding the menu that's on the left-hand side of the course is really key to, one, making sure that you and your students know where you're going to do things and find things. And two, hopefully you'll explore some of those items that are in that menu because we pre-populate every course with a bunch of good template information. Now that information is basic in nature or general in nature. It's not subject content. You're going to put that stuff in there, but there's a lot of stuff about NCC. There's a lot of stuff about Blackboard. There's a lot of stuff about features right inside some of those menu buttons. It's really important that you know how to post announcements. It's one way of communicating with your students. Obviously, communication is a big part, especially in the environment that we're in today. Before we got into almost a fully remote environment, we certainly had on-ground courses, and we certainly had students, faculty that did and didn't use Blackboard along with their on-ground courses. But for those that did, I think they found that it added another layer of communication with your students on a more frequent basis besides twice a week for an hour and 15 minutes or 3 times a week for 50 minutes. I was going to say 75 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes is different than 75 minutes, right? Okay, just to be sure. All right. But the big thing is putting stuff that you want your students to have in your course. We're going to get into the actual subject stuff, but it's not just subject stuff. It's documents of any sort. It could be operational information. Of course, your syllabus is great to have right into your Blackboard course, and we're really emphasizing that as one of the initiatives for Spring 21 to ensure that all courses have syllabi right in them, and we'll show you that. And then creating folders and other content in those folders is the basic premise of how you add content to your Blackboard course for your students to review. All right. Another communication tool, of course, is email. And we're also going to touch briefly on using the discussion board, which is one way to go one-to-many, but it's also a great way for everybody to collaborate in the course in a text mode, not in a live mode. I'll just mention that all the courses have a video conference tool like Zoom called Blackboard Collaborate built in. So if you need to do live sessions, you can use Blackboard Collaborate for those live sessions, or you could use Zoom. It's up to you. There's more than 2 tools, but those are the 2 tools I'm mentioning this morning. Okay, so any questions about those concepts so far? And I'll move on. All right. So the edit mode is really just a matter of making sure, and we just want you to be aware of it, because sometimes what happens with beginners, they can't seem to do what they want to do in their course and don't even realize that their edit mode might be switched, pardon me, might be switched off. Now, that's not something that just happens, but with newbies, they click around, they do things, and they're like, oh, shoot, what just happened? So hopefully we'll touch on a few of those kinds of things when we get into the course, and edit mode will be one of them. And if I forget, Sandy, please remind me about collapsing the navigation menu and bringing it back, and the resolution changes for what do we call that? For mobile, but there's another word that I can't think of right now. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's the important thing. This edit mode we'll see when we're in the course shows up at the top right corner of your course. The menu buttons. Now, please don't pay too much attention to what it says here in this particular slide, because unfortunately it is outdated. I didn't have the time to clean it up. But this is what a menu looks like on the left-hand side. What I want to emphasize here and right now, and we'll get into it when we're in the course, is that each of those menu buttons has a purpose. We provide it there in the template for you for a purpose. So you're going to find a lot of good information under info for instructors, and it's for you. It's not really meant for your students, which is why we actually have it hidden. So if you look here on the menu, you see this little icon with a slash through it. That's an indicator that it's hidden to the students, but it's not hidden to you. This other icon here, which doesn't have a slash through it, means that that section of the course is empty. It has no contents. So just a little bit of information about what you might see when you're on a menu in your course. And then each of these menu items are basically just clickable links going to that feature or that section of your course. That's what I want you to know. In addition to the information on the menu that's meant for the students, you as well have this course management area in your course that the students don't see. And that course management area of the navigation menu is meant to get you to a lot of the tools and features that are instructor only related, okay? We won't get into too much of that right now, but again, know that these features are there for you. And the other things that are available to the students above that, right here in this section, are where they would actually find help for themselves. We have a Blackboard student help site that Blackboard maintains. And help for instructors would be down here in the course management. It's the last thing on the menu for you. And again, that's the Blackboard maintained help site for instructors. And it's very good, very good. And back up here again, students have access to their grades in the Blackboard course. You have access to the grade center. That's different. Students don't have access to the grades. Their view of their grades is for them only, and it's in a little different proportion than it is for you in the grade center, where of course you see all your students collectively, right? And of course they have access to email as well right within Blackboard. Brief note about email is that it's not a separate email system. Basically, Blackboard siphons off your address as an instructor at northampton.edu and their address as a student, which is now student.northampton.edu, the domain. And it uses that when you work on an email inside of Blackboard. The nice feature there is that you can do email right inside of Blackboard. You don't have to jump out of Blackboard, go into your Outlook, and do email separately to just your class or some students in your class if you don't want to. Okay? All good stuff? Say yeah. Good, Joe. Okay. All right. We're going to learn about posting an announcement, and really it's just a matter of using what we call a tool or a feature inside of Blackboard. And once you do that, it will actually be produced right within the course, and it goes out as an email to your students automatically too. So really good stuff in a combination of letting your students know that you've got something that they should pay attention to here and now, and something that they'll always have access to because they can view all the announcements that you make throughout the course of the semester in one spot if they want to, not just see the one that happens to be the top of the list or the one that goes in their email right away. The other things that happen with announcements is they could be automatically generated if you want them to be when you create other stuff in your course. Like if you put new content in there, or if you add an exam and deploy it, et cetera, et cetera. Certain things, you can also generate an announcement for them as you do them automatically. It becomes part of the creation process for that item or tool. We'll get into it a little bit more in the course. Adding documents is, again, one of the key features where you are going to put content that you want your students to know about. I'm using the term documents, but I want you to know it could be links to other material out on the web. It could be different kinds of documents. It could be video. It could be audio. It could be so many different things that you can actually put into your course content space. And there's a process to do that. You're seeing a graphic of that right now. So basically, you put yourself into a particular section of the course. We suggest learning content. That's the section that we build for you to put your stuff into for the students to have access to. And there's a bunch of ways, as you can see by that light blue space there right here, of things that you can add or build right inside your course. So there's a whole bunch of different types of things that you can build. You can create other pages and folders, and you can even bring in other types of what we call mashups, information from various things on web apps, okay? We'll talk about building content when we get into the course a little bit more. Any questions about this concept in general before we go further beyond it? Notice that you could also add assessments. They can be either in the form of a Blackboard assignment or a Blackboard test, or even third-party stuff. If you're affiliated with a McGraw-Hill, a Pearson, or some other type of publisher site, you can bring that into play from these other tools and components that you see up here in the toolbar above that blue space. Okay. Is my pace okay so far?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. In addition to actually putting a document or a video or something like that, you can create folders which will help you create a structure of your course. A very important component in what we call universal design and a good quality matters type of way of showing your course to your students so that they can follow what you're doing week by week, chapter by chapter, topic by topic, in a very semi-linear fashion and find it very easily within your course. Be careful about creating too many levels. You know, the more clicks that people have to make, the tougher it can be. Also be careful, this is kind of mutually exclusive, of creating a page in Blackboard which just goes on and on and on and on and on, and they have to do a lot of scrolling. That's not a good idea either in terms of the way you present your course and format it, okay? But it's certainly a good idea to categorize your material so they know how to find stuff. And speaking of knowing how to find stuff, it's not a subject of this particular session, but we've also been doing sessions on how to create a course overview video for your students, where you actually show them on your desktop what your course looks like, where they're going to find the things that you want them to find, and a little bit more about your course and about the way the semester is going to go. It's a great thing to give your students that they can obviously view at any point in time if it's pre-recorded. And we show you how to do that in that particular training session. If you can't do a video or don't want to do a video, give your students some kind of orientation in form of a map in form of a live demonstration if you're doing a class meeting live via Zoom or Blackboard Collaborate, etc. Okay, but we think doing a video is great because it's something that can always be referenced and re-referenced by the students, and hopefully will eliminate as quickly as possible early on in your course as much confusion as we can. One of the things that we learned when we did a survey of both faculty and students last semester in this remote world that we're in is that they felt that there was some difficulty in understanding what they needed to know about their individual courses. There was some lack of consistency from one course to another. So we're working on trying to patch that up a little bit for spring 21. And anything you can do to help is fantastic. If you have any questions at all about, the way you want to set up your course, we also have specific course designers, instructional designers within our group of online learning and educational technology, and they can certainly help you as well. And we'll give you some information about how to reach out later on. Okay. Yes, I am recording. I just saw that, Sarah. I wasn't even looking at the chat. I don't know when you put that in there. Are you recording, Joe? Okay, and great communication is sending email. Again, I said you can do that right within the course, so I won't belabor that too much. You could see by that graphic in there that you can break it down into groups. You can send to an individual student, you can send to all students, you can even send to particular groups if you have groups set up inside of Blackboard. That is a feature of Blackboard if you want to create groups of students for some type of project purpose, etc. Okay, and you can add things into those emails like you can with normal emails, put a file on them, put links in them and things like that. Good, so if you have any questions right now, all well and good, but this was meant to be towards the end of the presentation, but I wanted to just roll through this PowerPoint and get into the other stuff. But keep in mind that this is where you can get help right inside your course, the help for instructors. Again, I'll show you that one more time when we get to the actual course. And also, this is our email address, our general mailbox, nccedtech@northampton.edu. And if you have a question or you want to get together with us at all, you can send a request to that email box. There's about 3, sometimes 4 of us that actually monitor that email. Okay. I already did put that drop-in session, which happens daily, into the chat. And maybe Sandy, if you don't mind, throw in the email address there too.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so that's it for the PowerPoint. Let's shoot over to the other resource that I want you to know about, which is our Padlet. Now, when we went into this remote chaos, I'm not going to say that because, we tried to take chaos and bring some semblance to it over the course of the summer. We had numerous trainings with faculty over the course of the summer on the basics of being able to run your courses remotely, especially if you were an on-ground only instructor. And this is one of the tools that we used. It's called a Padlet. I'm going to take the link to this Padlet and put it in the chat, and you can have it as reference, okay? Because as you can see, there's a plethora of information. A Padlet is nothing more than like a wall that you put sticky notes on, and each sticky note is obviously digital, and it can be a picture, it can be a link to another resource, it can have links in it, it could just be information, et cetera, et cetera. Keep in mind that this was something that we actually used during the training, and I'm not really using it today. I'm just giving it to you. I'm going to point out some things that are on this Padlet, and I want it to be a reference for you and a guide if you want to go back and go through it yourself on your own time, and also if you need to rehash something that we talk about, or you might find some stuff in here that we're not going to talk about today. All right? That's why I want you to have this. So generally speaking, when you're looking at any one of these posts, like for instance, notice that the finger pointer comes up as a cursor, which means I can actually click on it. And what it does, it's going to take me to this document that we uploaded. In this case, it was a website. So this is the website for Blackboard Help, okay? And it's talking about grading discussions. Discussion boards is a tool inside of Blackboard, just to give you an idea how this works. Here's another piece that when we click on it, takes you to the grading assignments. I don't know why it took me right back to the Padlet. That was kind of weird. So let's not use that one per se, but here's the link to the Padlet right here. And we actually do, this is another link to the walk-in sessions. And we actually have the recorded sessions that we did when we did these trainings back in the summer. And you're welcome to go through those recordings if you want to on your own time. All right. We actually asked our faculty who, we did this 3 days, sometimes 4 days a week, and everybody had to attend, let's say at 11 o'clock each day. And we actually asked them to do some assignments, which you'll see in purple. Those are these posts that are in purple. And, we're not expecting you to do those, obviously, but if you want to try to go through anything, you certainly can. Again, if you see any links in any of these purple posts, feel free to click on them because they might be good information about how things are done, like a video, for instance, okay? One real good reference that you might want to know about is right here in the middle, this quick start training guide. Again, something that was put together primarily for helping people sort of switch over from on ground to online. And when you click on this, it's going to take you to sort of another platform that we have called CourseArc. And this is set up like it's a self-paced course almost, okay? Something that you are welcome to look through. Notice on the left-hand side, kind of a navigation area. You see some getting started, navigating Blackboard, putting in your syllabus, uploading documents. So this is going to be reinforcement of some of the stuff we go over today and a little bit more. There's some added stuff in here, but a good little resource tool, again, for you to go at on your own time and get some of this information if you choose to, all right? And for those of you that have been with us for a while, maybe Kamal doesn't even know this exists, and he might find this to be a relatively good place to go and hunt something down that he's been thinking about or whatever.
Exactly right. I don't know that it exists. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. All right, so that's a good reference for you. Going back to the Padlet again, I really don't think I want to point out much of anything else. We'll leave it at that. So you have access to this Padlet and feel free to use it. If you have any questions after you've tried some of these things, again, reach out to NCC Ed Tech, or you're welcome to email me directly if you want to, or come to one of our drop-ins. Right? The whole idea of giving you all this information is that you at least take a look at it, and then you're like, yeah, I kind of get it, but there's one thing I'm missing, and that's where we can really help you. Once you at least become familiar with stuff, we can really help you, get right to the root of getting you to a completed step with whatever it is you're trying to do. All right. Okay, so from here, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to jump over to a course. Everybody ready for that?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? The show says we got it, we got it. All right, any questions so far? Let's get a little pause here. Shall we do a, stretch break? I mean, maybe at this point, just does anybody that has been teaching, want to throw anything in about, some of these features in Blackboard or tools that you've learned or the way you're using them that might be helpful for those that are kind of brand new? Let me just open it up for a moment. Kamal, anything from you? I guess Marilyn.
Well, I know with the email, I use the email link that's here in the menu in the grade center as well. I don't know when you may cover that. I may be jumping ahead. I use that as well. So I use either the link here on the menu to send emails, or I go into the grade center. And that's usually when I'm dealing with something related to a specific assignment that I may see. And since I'm there, I just use the email over there instead of coming out to the menu.
That's a really good point. I appreciate you bringing it up. And that is that there are a number of ways to do things in Blackboard, do the same thing in Blackboard, number one, okay? And we're not here to go through all of those ways. And also the features and tools that exist in Blackboard may be accessible in various places within the course, which makes it convenient. So in what Kamau is relating to, if you want to do email while it's right here on the menu, you may be at a point in your course where you want to you want to email to a specific student. And rather than move away from what you were doing and come over here, click on email, get into another page and go ahead and do that thing, like Kamau's saying, if you're already grading a student work and it comes to you that you want to say something to them directly, or hey, the other thing might be, there's nothing in the grade center to grade. I might want to email that person right away and say, where's your assignment? And that's one way to do it right from within the grade center, and you're not losing your train of thought / process. So after you email that student from the grade center, you can go to the next student in the grade center and do what you were doing with that student. So that's a nice thing about a lot of the tools and features in Blackboard is you will find them in various places, not just on the menu. Okay, I appreciate that. Anything else you'd like to add, Kamau?
No, not at this time.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. So the first thing that most courses, 99.9% of the courses, come to is what we call a course home when you get in. And let me make sure that Annika understands how to get into Blackboard, obviously, Annika, and how you see your courses from a list in Blackboard. You get that? We don't have to go back to that level, do we, for you, Annika?
Okay.
You've already been in your spring courses?
No, because
Have not.
no, I don't even have email address open up yet.
Oh, okay. So I apologize for that.
No,
That
no, that's okay.
That makes it a little bit harder for you to sort of play along a little bit if you wanted to, but
No, I'll get it to get
Good.
at least some basic.
right. Let me at least show you what's going to happen instead of
Sure.
being at this level. Okay, give me a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another tab. When you go either into My NCC and go to Blackboard from My NCC, or you can access Blackboard directly too. You don't have to go through My NCC. But
Okay.
when you do that, where you're going to land is right here. This is what we call the Blackboard landing page for all people. All right.
So that's when I log on direct on the Blackboard.
Well, either way, if you log into My NCC, you're going to go to a icon or a button that says Blackboard. You're going to
Okay.
click that, and it's going to land you here.
Okay.
The shortcut is, if you don't want to go through My NCC, you type in northampton.blackboard.edu, and it'll take you to a login page, and you have to understand what your login is there. And I don't want to get too far down the road on that, but either way, once you log in, this is the first thing you see.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I want to be clear. So you have some tabs across the top here. I have more tabs than you. I'm special. And
Okay.
each of these tabs basically does, get you to particular places within Blackboard.
Okay.
But this is the primary tab where you'll find the tools that you want to get to quickly if you don't want to be right in the course, quick announcements, links to tutorials,
Okay.
and of course, the most important thing, your courses. So any courses that you are an instructor or a student in will be listed in this section, My Courses.
Okay.
Obviously, I have way too many. Thank God I don't teach them all. And here you are. So this is your springboard. So if you're teaching, let's say 2 or 3 sections, Annika, you're going to see one link for each of those sections under my courses. All right.
Okay.
And all you would do is click one of these links and it's going to throw you into that particular course.
Oh, okay.
You threw me into the Blackboard
Okay.
demo course.
Okay.
All right. That's what you need to know to get to the point of where we're going to start our training and discussion right now.
Okay.
So once you've clicked on a link to one of your courses, this is what it's going to look like. Right, Kamal?
That's it.
That's it. So the course home is meant to be a dashboard. The dashboard is here to provide dynamic information automatically. That is, you do not directly input anything to this dashboard. It all gets populated automatically by way of other things you do inside the course. The other thing to know about the course home is it is role related. You are an instructor, your students are students. They're two very different roles. What you see in your course home is different than what the students see in their course home. Clear? Okay. So for instance, to do or needs attention or alerts might be relevant to your student about an upcoming assignment that you've put into Blackboard. For you, it might be, hey, that assignment's in the grade center. It's time for you to grade it. Okay. Different things in the course home relevant to the role of the person in the course. Okay. But nonetheless, what you're going to see here is, and your students, announcements. One way to get to announcements, there's other ways, but they'll see the most recent announcements in this. We call these modules, boxes, modules. They'll see the most recent announcements that you put in your course. They'll see anything that you may have recently posted as far as content or an assessment, etc. They'll see stuff that, hey, there's a due date coming up and it needs your attention to actually complete an assignment. And they'll see stuff that is past due and the date related things, which is nice. This to-do box really populates a lot of stuff on the basis of the dates. So it's important for you to use dates when you're creating stuff, all right? If you don't use dates, they're not getting full utilization of this course home dashboard tool, all right? And again, alerts. We also have, for both students and instructors at the bottom of course home, some very helpful sites. Like the help site for students, which is the same, as I mentioned earlier, this link in the menu, and the help site for instructors, which is the same as this thing in the menu. Actually, there's a few things in this menu, so it's actually this item right here, Blackboard Help. And of course, you can learn about other things from some of these other links. I challenge you to explore them, okay?
Joe, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes, go ahead.
Okay, that to-do part, that to-do area there, in terms of the dates. So like, I think when you put in a test or something like that, that will show up in that to-do section, right? So if I have a test that's due, let's say January the 28th, that's due, it will show up in there for the students, right? That would be for the future, I believe, right?
Correct. As long as you fill out that parameter, that field, when you're creating that assessment or assignment, that it has a due date, yes.
Okay, so for the reading of a document or something of that nature,
Yes.
it would be necessary for me to put in there the date that I want them to do that assignment, and it'll show up over there.
Yeah, unfortunately, reading of a document, if it's not actually a Blackboard assignment, does not have a due date field. Okay, so here's what you can do, and maybe Sandy can relate to this because she actually teaches in a course, and maybe she has things. But what you can do if you're just putting in, text, you're putting in instructions, but you're not telling them, you know, that you've got, they'd have to submit something. That would be an assignment.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. But if all you're doing is telling them to read 2 chapters and you want them to read it by Wednesday at noon, you're obviously going to tell them that in your instructions.
Exactly.
The other thing you could do is you could create a calendar item for that. It's a separate piece. But you go into the Blackboard calendar and you could say, reading assignment due 12 noon Wednesday, you know, or in that date on your calendar. That would be one way for them to know about it outside of just reading those instructions on the content page.
Okay.
Andy, do you have anything to add there?
No, if you have a due date, the item should show up on the calendar. And if it shows up on the calendar, you'll be able to see it in the to-do.
Correct. Same kind of thing there.
Yeah.
So what Andy's saying, in the tools that ask you for a due date, it's going to be automatic. In the tools that don't ask you for a due date,
You would have to.
go into the calendar specifically and put something in there.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right. Okay. Good question.
So, oh, I'm sorry. So if I put a due date on my syllabus, will that go onto the calendar automatically, or I still needed to do it?
It needs to be in Blackboard, not just on your syllabus.
No, if I upload my syllabus onto the Blackboard.
Yeah,
with-
it's not going to take dates from the syllabus.
Okay,
That's
okay, I
just for,
see.
but
Okay.
if you put it in the learning content
Yes,
in that area with a date, then it will show up. So,
okay,
yeah,
Boy, would that be a
Thank you.
fantastic
That would be really
feature
cool.
in Blackboard. If it could somehow extract the information from the syllabus and then fix the entire course, boy, oh boy. Oh, we'd
That's
have
the
a
AI.
lot of happy
That's-
faculty.
that would be AI.
Yeah,
But you know what? I bet that's coming. You know, we're gonna have AI
yeah, sure.
that can extract information out of things like that. That there will be a day when we can do that. But
Yeah, you can do it. If I can think of that, you can do it.
there you go. Oh yeah. All right. Good stuff. Good questions. Okay, so let's try to get a little bit practical. Let's talk about an announcement. Okay. Now, I beg your pardon. Before we do that, real quick on this menu. So the course home is always at the top, and it usually is exactly where we land when we get into the course. Now, begin here again. This is some of the templated information. Please go through each of these menu items and look at the stuff yourself. But we put this stuff in here primarily for your students' benefit, okay? Give them some basic information if they're new to NCC. This is the kind of information they might get if they take the Calls 101 course, you know, where they learn about, you know, first timers at college and all that kind of stuff. Here is where you would put your syllabus, okay? This links over to an external tool that we call Concourse. All right, and you will upload, there will be an upload button for you here, and you'll upload your syllabus to Concourse right here inside of Blackboard. This is where your instructor, we need you to fill this out and indicate who you are, a little bit of a bio, a picture is great, and how your students will know about you and your course and get in contact with you. Okay, put all the information you can in this contacts/your instructor section. Okay. The learning content, as we said before, is meant to be a space where we put pretty much all of the stuff that the students are going to need to see, hear, watch, review, do, assess, all that kind of stuff is pretty much in this learning content space. It's meant to be a one-stop shop. But remember those folders. You want to make sure you structure it so that it looks like something plausible. For Annika's Annika's purpose, for her help, I'm going to find a course right now. Sorry, I didn't have one up. It's not going to be this one. Maybe I'll go back to one of Sandy's. Is that okay, Sandy?
sure.
Okay.
And Annika, what is the name of your course? Do you know the name of your course?
Yes, MALA 105.
MALA.
LA 105.
Maybe we can find that too and bring that up so we can show
Okay.
you what it looks like.
Okay,
I'll
And
look
the
for it.
115.
all right.
Okay, let me see.
Hopefully you can see this course. This is one of Sandy's Computer Science 101 courses.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay. So again, this is the course home. She added a banner to this course, which you can do as well, but we're not going to get into that. All right. You
Okay.
can see she still has all the structure of the course home dashboard. All right. When we go into learning content, and she has a couple of extra buttons or sections, but when we go into learning content, look how she's got it structured. Week 1, week 1B, week 2, week 2B. And then the student goes into a week. Keep in mind also, you don't have to show all these weeks all at once. You have, when you create something, availability timeframes, and you can show them or display them and turn them off, turn them on and turn them off at particular dates and times. And it's probably a good idea because you don't want your students seeing everything all at once. But
Or I can just do add-ons.
say it again.
Can I just do add-ons? Like after this week, I'll do the next week
Yes.
instead of
Oh,
do all at one
sure.
time. Okay.
Sure, you can add a folder anytime that you want. It doesn't all have to
Okay.
be built out all at one time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so here I am. I go into week 2A, and there's
Okay.
things. Look, again, these are things that we have determined, not we have determined, but we go by the Quality Matters rubric. Tell your students what the objectives are. Hey, here's a checklist that might be helpful. Here's some PowerPoint or document content that we've uploaded that the students can watch. Here's an assignment, okay? And here are some specific things that these students do in a third-party platform. CISC uses a thing called SimNet, which takes them out to another site and they do some homework on that site. Okay, so you can see every one of those weeks is going to be structured in a similar format. We're telling them objectives, telling them what they need to do, telling them specific things that we want from them, and here's how they do them, and maybe doing an assignment or an assessment and other things. We can have discussions in here too. I don't see that in Sandy's week 2A, but she might have it in a different week where we can go to a discussion with our students and they can actually converse with one another asynchronously, not in real time with the discussion board. Okay, so that's what the structure of a course should look like. Again, it can be by week, it can be by topic, it can be by chapter, just as long as it's logical and linear in time sequence to some degree
Okay.
for students.
Okay.
Make sense?
I'll need to take her class before I can do this.
It's not too hard, not too hard. So
Yeah, for
how do
you.
yeah, so let's go back and create that.
Can I just chime in for a second?
Sure,
If
go
you,
right
if you
ahead.
just do the first week, like if you don't think about everything, but just make the first week really, really simple. Just
Mhm.
what are the basics? You want them to do the reading or whatever. Just take it as simple as you possibly can.
Sure.
Because there's so many tools that can get really complicated.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
That's great advice. It's good advice for you as the instructor, and it's not bad advice for your students to keep it simple for them too.
And Joe, can I just add something? Annika, I just looked
Yes.
and your course is up. You do have some students enrolled. However,
Yes.
being new, you are not listed as the instructor yet. So as soon
No,
as that
because,
happens, which will probably happen in the next day or two,
Yeah.
you'll be able to go in and see your entire class and start building it out.
Yeah, because I haven't received any instruction to log on, and I tried.
Okay.
No, that I
And just
can't.
as an FYI, it's usually your first initial last name
Yes.
to log in for the first time, but you're not listed as the instructor yet. So
No,
you're
not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to upload my syllabus. I couldn't.
You can't until you get
No,
into your course.
Yes, that's right. So I don't know when and then how, who's gonna tell me, because
Well, since we
haven't
just came back after the break,
Yeah.
it should happen shortly.
Okay, okay, no problem. I'm just wondering because I received a letter last week, I think Wednesday, told me to put my syllabus online, but upload to the human resource department.
Oh,
But
okay.
I can't do that, and I send the email to the department because I don't know how to log on to the Blackboard yet. Then if in the syllabus I needed to tell students how
Mhm.
to, which I can't yet. So
Right.
I didn't do it, and
Yeah.
so far I don't know. No one told me why you didn't, but they told me last Wednesday that I should upload already. But
Yeah.
so far I
That's
haven't
okay.
get anyway.
Yeah, that obviously
do-
went out to faculty at large, Annika.
Yeah,
And so,
okay.
Right.
new faculty, you just gotta catch up eventually.
Yeah,
And
I'll just wait. And anyway,
Yeah.
I
And,
can log in. I can
you
upload
can
any.
check with your dean, check with your dean's
I
office.
did. I did.
Okay, so they probably submitted it and it takes a little bit before the
Yeah,
system goes through.
I figured
Keep
that's why.
trying, try again,
Okay.
like maybe
Okay.
this afternoon.
unfortunately, we have this intermezzo week. I think we do this every
Yeah.
semester where we push our semester start back a week and give everybody a chance to get
Yeah.
their. But in any case, I think
Okay.
I wanted to say something about.
All right.
Mel?
Yeah, I was going to say that I kind of learned something new here, if I understand you correct. I have always seen this learning content.
Mm.
So I'm understanding that I have, for example, I have in my folders, I have a course documents folder, an assignments folder, images folder, maps, films, and resources and so forth. So you're saying that I can go, instead of listing them individually like that, I can go into the learning content. And see, I do this on my syllabus. So like on my syllabus, I'll have like what I'm doing the first week, the second week of the reading assignments, what I'm lecturing about on my syllabus, but I don't have it like that on Blackboard. So you're saying within the learning content, I can pretty much put the documents, let's say for this week or the first week, the documents I want them to read, any film I want them to review, or discussions that I want them to have, all in that one folder,
Yes.
all in one place.
We think that is a fantastic best practice, correct? And,
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Because, yeah.
And so to make it somewhat simplified but not precise, your Blackboard course structure should mimic your syllabus a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. It does. It's just that before, everything is all kind of all over the place, but I know where it is. This will enable me to just put it right in one place, and the students can see that, right? They can see that learning content.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. Very good. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, this is where I mentioned before, if we, we're not looking to put everybody into a square hole of some sort and say, you can't do things to your liking with your own touch. But if there's consistency across the board, you have student number one who's taking your course, but student number one might be taking Annika's course and might be taking Marilyn's course. And if all three of you do things a little bit differently,
Yeah.
it's a little challenging for our students, especially in this environment, right? So we're looking for some consistency. I hate to use the term standardization, but that's some of what I think will be helpful to students who are very anxious to begin with because of what they're going through and what we're going through. Good. All right, so the learning content is where we're putting that space or that information, that activity, whatever it is we want them to do. All right, learning content becomes your primary area of information and subject matter. The discussion board is a tool, and when you click on it, it brings you to, every course has an opening introductory discussion. It's there for you. You can use it or not use it. That's up to you. But here's where you can create your own individual topics or forums either about something esoteric or about the subject, whatever you would like. Obviously, staying on subject is important to see that this is one way, a learning component or a learning process for your students to actually get together on particular subject content matter. All right, and you could do that here in the discussion board. This Blackboard Collaborate Ultra menu item takes you to the Zoom-like web conferencing tool that's built into every course. Just want you to know that. And then last but not least, your students have access to many course tools in one page that they may need to. Here, notice they can get to announcements here. Notice they can get to Collaborate Ultra here. They can get to the calendar here. They can get to their surveys here. They can get to so many different things by just going to this one page. They can go to the discussion board here. There's an example of getting to something in multiple ways. I could either hit discussions on the navigation menu, or I go into course tools and go into the discussion board here, right? And then looking up on the right-hand side, they can go to groups. If you have third-party stuff, it's right here. They can go to their grades. They also have my grades on the menu, all right? I just want you to know that this is sort of a one-stop shop for them for all the tools in Blackboard. Okay.
Is this is for teacher too?
Well, yeah, you have access to it as well.
Okay.
But
Okay.
keep in mind that sometimes the way you go into a tool is going to be different. and you're
Different.
gonna have a different
Yes.
capability, permission in that
Yes.
than the student does. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, this is all still meant for the students up to this point right here. Even though we put this here, we want you just to see it. We think there's a hell of a lot of good information for instructors in this, don't we, Sandy?
Yes.
So when you click on it, and notice by, again, this symbol that I mentioned before, it's hidden to the students. Okay.
Mhm.
When you click on it, you're going to see, hey, here's some good information about Blackboard. Hey, here's some good information about faculty resources to assist with student support. Hey, here's some good teaching resources and professional development. Hey, here's some tools and technology support. Okay, good stuff. Obviously, multi-layered. Could take you a good half a day just to go through each of these folders, but we think at some point you should utilize the information that we provided to the instructors here.
Joe, how did you get to that? Oh, okay, I see. I think I
It's
see.
right here. It's in every course.
Instructor for Blackboards. I'm seeing something different when I click on that than what you see.
Okay, right here, info for instructors.
Yeah, that's what I'm clicking on. We were under help, right? Blackboard help for instructors.
Nope. It should be in your menu under course tools, info for instructors, unless you have moved things around. I don't know if you've moved stuff around.
Let's see, NCC services, blah, blah, blah.
Are
BBC.
you in your spring course?
No, let me go to that course. I'm looking
Yeah,
at,
if you go to your spring course, especially if you haven't done a whole lot there, it's going to be on your menu. This is a spring course that I'm in right now. Okay.
okay.
Your item that's good for both you, but really for your students is this student information area. And you can see so many different categories: policies, procedures, diversity, ADA, complaints and concerns, and other services. Good thing for you to know about yourself, so that if you have students that are looking for some student services, you can direct them to this area and learn a little bit more about it, but your students can find this as well. When surveys are running for your courses, they'll be available through this class climate survey link. That's your course evaluations. This is how your students can get to the book information and bookstore if you want them to, and you can too. This is where your students get to their grades. This is how your students access email, and so can you. And this is where your students access help. All right. Down here, below this little black line that's very hard to see here, this is the section that your students will not see. All right. We call this your control panel. Here you have access to something called the content collection, but we're not going to get into that. That's kind of where all your files that you upload into your course, that's where they go. Course tools, and there's many. This can be a little bit different than the course tools up here, but some similarities. But look at all the tools that you have access to, including tests, including rubrics, including something called Safe Assign, which is like Turnitin. Okay, so many things you have access to. An evaluation area where you can get course reports to find out information about your students' activity in the course, your performance dashboard, and a few other things. Where you're going to work in the grades. This is your grade center. Looking at your rosters, users, you can see all the students in the course, and particular things about customization, which we're not going to get into, packages and utilities. And the big one that I want you to know about is help. So when you click on this Blackboard Help for Instructors, it's going to take you to their guide, their website, and it's really good. You can look at these common issues and popular pages in the main area. You can look over on the left here and see that they have sort of a content panel, or you can search for whatever it is you're looking for, like types of test questions in exams. And when you click on that and click search, it's going to bring you directly to results, and you can click on those results and look at particular information about the different types of questions that you can put in Blackboard exams. Okay, it's really good. And I just want you to know that. All right, now, meat and potatoes. Are we ready? If we want to create an announcement, we can do so from the course home by clicking on More Announcements, or, as I said, there's many, many ways to go about it. We can click on Course Tools here and go to the Announcements feature, or we can click on Course Tools in our control panel and go to Announcements there. They all get you to the same tool, the same place, and here's where we create. Now, I mentioned something about an edit button early on, didn't I? Okay, that is over here at the top right. This is what we want to make sure for your students don't see this. This is what we want to make sure is on so that you can actually create and do stuff in Blackboard. Okay, we'll switch it off after we do something. Okay? So while we have that on, we come over here, and this is what it looks like when we create just about anything in Blackboard, not just an announcement. There's a create button. So we're going to click on it. There's a page that shows up that has most of the same fields or parameters, like a title or a subject. And we'll call this one First Voice. Okay. Anything with an asterisk means you have to fill it out. And then you have a content creation editor. Looks like a mini Word doc. That's what it is. Here is where you actually type in the information that you want your students to know. Okay? Any information whatsoever. You can format it 9 ways to Sunday. You have all these other tools, like you can create a link to a website. You can go into HTML mode. You can add other types of content in there, like insert files and other pieces of content. And we're not meant to get into the real down the road on this, but this is how easy it is to create something in Blackboard. A name, the information, format it if you want to, add something else, give it a duration. All right, if we want to restrict the date, notice that we get another parameter that comes up. It says display after and display until. So a start and an end date. This is display, when your students can see it and not see it. Doesn't mean it goes away. They just can't see it if it's not within whatever parameters you display here. All right, and look, do we want to send an email announcement immediately? Okay, if there is a link in your announcement to another area of your course, like learning content, week 1 reading assignment. You could actually put that link right in here. You would browse the content of your course. Let's just make believe it's this item right here. We would click on it. It would put that link. And when we submit, and we have to submit everything we're creating so that it's done, when we submit it, I beg your pardon because we chose restricted, so I'll just do this, put these up here. So it's going from this afternoon till now, and we have to quit soon, don't we? Okay, so we're submitting, and now look what's happened. In the body of our announcements tool, we now see our first announcement. Okay, and your students will see it too. And here's what we wrote right here in this section. And here's that link, so that if the student clicks on the link in the announcement, it's going to take them right to that spot in your course. Okay, very good utilitarian things that are part of what we create inside of Blackboard. Okay, that's an announcement. How do we create other content? Let's go into learning content. Very similar, absolutely very similar. So the first thing we might want to create instead of an item, an individual thing, is let's start with a folder. All right, so we go up to build content. Once we're in the learning content space or any other content space that you put in Blackboard, okay, look at all the different types of things we can add. An item is just that. It's pretty static. It's just giving them some information. A file, well, like a PowerPoint, you actually upload it and they can click on it and get that file. Audio, image, video, a web link to another resource, okay? All different types of things that we can add as content to one of our Blackboard pages. But we want to add, to get started, a folder to help develop that good structure in our course, okay? So all we do is click on create folder, okay? And what's the first thing that's required? Let's call it something. We'll just call it F1 for folder 1, okay? And in here, we're going to say, you know, maybe you want to give them a little instruction like click here to find all you need for week 1, okay? You might just put that. You can add an image here if you want to put a graphic. You can do anything you want in this content editor. It's pretty darn cool. And if you have a little HTML knowledge, boy, you can really make it spiffy, okay? But we're not going to get into that. So you've got your information. Once again, you got some options. Now with announcements, you don't give permission to view or not view, but you could take away viewability if you wanted to by clicking that button. You can also do some tracking of the number of views. That requires a course report though, if you do that. And then again, you get your date and time display window if you want it. If you don't click anything in date and time, it'll be available always, okay? Once we're done filling out the parameters, what do we hit? We click what?
Submit.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I had to unmute myself.
And look what we got. We got a folder, okay? So we're telling our students to click on this folder. So let's click on it ourselves. All right, let me show you something before I do that. Let's go back to this edit mode, okay? When we turn edit mode off, take a snapshot in your mind of the way my screen looks right now. When we turn edit mode off, something changed, did it not?
Yeah.
All of our controls went away.
Mhm.
Indeed, what else went away is something that was set as unavailable to the students. So this is sort of a bird's eye view of what your students will see if you just click the edit mode off. It's not 100%, but it's a quick way to take off editing. Also, if for some reason, you don't want to make a mistake and you want to have edit mode on yourself until you create something, you're welcome to do that. Just remember, when you go to create something and you can't, make sure that this button is on. So over here in our menu, where is info for instructors? Not there, because remember, it was hidden from the students. All right, when we turn edit mode back on, what do we see? The item that was, see, it says right here, item is hidden from students. We see info for instructors again. We see this one, which was hidden as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you need to know about the edit mode.
Joe, we are past time.
Okay. So I'm going to do one more thing. All right. I'm going to go into that folder that we created. And now we want to create a reading assignment, right? So once again, in the folder, we go to build content. We just click an item. This isn't something that they're going to submit or that they have to go to. And we're going to call it, reading one. And in reading one, obviously, we're going to say read PP 1 through, beg your pardon, 1 through 1,783. Okay, that's just the first week. And we're going to do whatever we want with that content space. We can put links in there. We can add a picture. We can put a picture of the textbook. We could do whatever we want. We could add all types of things. But also, we can actually attach other files when we're creating items like this. All right? We get those files from our own computer, usually. Okay? Just know that there are two other places: the content collection, which is that thing that I referred to over here, and I said, don't worry about it for now. And also, we have cloud services. How many of us have Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive now that we're all on Outlook? Okay, so if your files are in the cloud repository, you can get them from the cloud as well as on whatever device hard drive that you have. Okay, and then yes, you still have these same standard options. Do you want them to see it or not? Do you want to track? When do you want them to see it, not see it? And when we're done, we
Submit.
thank you. And here it is. So now I'm in folder one. I have reading one. Students can read that and do it on their own. And notice up here, we have what we call breadcrumbs. This is the pathway that we just went through to get to this item, reading one. We're in the course Art History Survey. It says this, yeah. We went to learning content and we hit folder F1 in learning content to get here. Okay. You also can know that these are actually links. So if we want to go back to learning content, we can click this link. But of course, we can always click this link right here too, or we can hit the back button. Of course, it brought us back to that, which we really didn't want. Okay, but here we are back at learning content. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Real quick, email is right here. You could see that you could send to all users, all student users, but all you have to do is click one of those. We don't have anybody in the course, so it's not going to work. I'm so sorry. But it looks like everything else. You have a subject, you have the list of recipients, and you have your body where you would put your email text into, and then you would click send or submit, and poof, email goes to your students. Pretty easy. I can't actually show you in this course. Didn't think of that. Okay, any questions? Because we have to go. I was told by Sandy.
No, since I am brand new, I don't know, either Sandy or Jill could spend a couple more minutes to go over with me, like quickly how to log on to the Blackboard.
Yeah, well, we may not be able to do that yet, though, because you don't have the credentials you need. So,
No, just give me the steps that I needed to do once I get it. You don't need it to show me exactly, just the step that I needed to watch out how to,
Okay,
like you did. I remember you said I need to go to the Northampton College and then I can go click onto the Blackboard, right? There's a place
Yes.
go to
we'll do that.
Blackboard. Okay, so once I click onto the Blackboard, I can upload my syllabus, or the HH is gonna do it.
No, you have to do that. That's your.
Okay, I have to do it. And then after I do all this, the school will give me all the students' emails, right? The
They're
address.
already,
They'll be
they'll
right
be
in
in
the
your
course.
course.
Okay, so they will add it on
The
to,
students are already registered in your course, so if you send an email from your Blackboard course, it will go out to all your students.
okay.
The
Another-
emails are already there, but you
Okay.
can't see anything yet because
Yes.
you're not listed.
That's right. Yeah, I can't even log.
Right.
log in.
Try this
Okay.
afternoon. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
have it done by then.
Okay,
And
one more.
Annika, besides Blackboard, an important component to you to know about and utilize is called My NCC.
NCC.
My NCC, so that's direct from the Northampton, right?
Yes.
Okay, another question is, since I'm teaching language, I need a lot of times teaching Chinese, it's a character, it's not alphabets. A lot of times I need to show students how to do the strokes in orders. Is there any way I can do it on Blackboard or no?
Well, when you're in the content editor, when you're creating something, there is a variety of fonts and I believe language fonts too in there that you could utilize. But if you're talking about literally drawing,
Uh-huh.
you certainly can do that. We'll have to help you a little bit along with that. And if you're going to do drawing, I suggest that you either have a touch screen or a touch pad. To make drawing easier, to try to draw with a mouse is just absolutely futile.
Yeah, I have a touch screen. That's my
Okay.
next question.
Good.
So touch screen, I can get onto the Blackboard, I had no problem for the class, right? Because it's a live stream, live streaming. So it's direct. It's like you and I now, I'm talking, the students will see me right away.
Yes,
So
yes,
so touchpad is okay, right?
yes.
For them,
yes.
okay.
And then
So
when you're actually in those sessions, there, depending upon which tool you're using, Zoom, Collaborate, et cetera, there is the availability of like a whiteboard or annotation tools. And then using your touch screen, you could actually draw those characters right on that whiteboard.
So I'll just click onto that tool.
Right. So,
Okay,
so for instance, right now, I'm
okay.
on Zoom, there's a tool called Annotate. So I'm going to click on Annotate and let's see, I'm going to pick up a drawing tool. And since I have this course up and showing, I can actually go right on it with the annotation tool. And I'm using a mouse, but you can do that as well.
Yes, so even on Blackboard, I can jump to Zoom while I'm teaching.
You can, but since there's a tool
No,
called Collaborate right in Blackboard, we suggest using it. Okay,
say it again.
Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. It's right here.
Yes, that's what my class should be.
It's built right into your Blackboard course. So when you click on here is where you can actually set up class meeting sessions and it'll be live like Zoom.
Yeah, that's what they told me. My class should be Collaborate Ultra.
There you go.
So I can do it right on there at the same time when I'm teaching.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
this Ultra tool is exactly like Zoom, basically. And
Okay.
you use it in place of Zoom.
Okay, I see. So I'll just click on that Ultra.
Yes. But
And then the tools
this
will come out.
This is something if you haven't used, you're going to have to learn a little bit about too. You know?
Yeah, I need to. Okay, all right.
Okay.
If there's any problem, I'll reach out.
Good.
Thank you.
All righty. Kamal?
I have something, I guess we would do it after the class. I want to be able to transfer the shell of the course that I'm teaching this semester from the previous semester, last year.
Okay.
I need to go over that. Would I be able to get in touch with you, or should I get in touch with
Yeah.
Sarah?
Well, we got two things. I don't know exactly what time we're at here, but yeah, we're 4 minutes away from our drop-in session. So technically we should probably end this and then have you guys go over into the drop-in.
And I can we can talk about that over there.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
So do I use this same link to get back to this?
No, the link that I put earlier in the chat is the drop-in link.
The one up at the top, okay.
Yeah, it ends in 653.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
All right.
All
All
right,
right, thank you.
Why don't we do this, Sandy? Kamau, why don't you go to the drop-in? Sandy, you go there. and
I
then-
am there. I was expecting
Okay.
other people too. So
Oh.
yeah, it's open.
Okay, and I'll help Annika, we'll stay on here. I'll help her here with the login.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
I'll leave this meeting and log back in at the other one.
Go into the other
Very
link.
good.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna end the recording.